When Watch Dogs originally came out back in 2014, it had a lot of hype, and ultimately, the game disappointed many people. This was mainly due to the huge downgrade in graphics in the actual launch version of the game that was not nearly as good looking as the E3 demo, so in turn, like many games that have bad releases, this caused everything great about Watch Dogs to be overlooked, and overall the game was labeled as a bad game. The protagonist of this game, Aiden Pearce, wasn't typically well received either, and it was clear Ubisoft wanted to head a different direction away from Aiden in Watch Dogs 2. But I personally think Aiden is a great protagonist and deserves much more credit and praise than what he got. And he's definitely up there with what I would think to be some of the most criminally underrated protagonists. What sets up Aiden Pearce to be such a strong protagonist is the sad and emotional opening to Watch Dogs, when a hitman crashes into Aiden's car while driving and kills his young niece. Before this, Aiden had been a downright criminal, partaking in heists and cyber attacks so he can support him and his family, and this ultimately led to his niece's death. And even though Aiden is a hardened criminal, you can't help but feel extremely bad for him. And even though he may not always do the right thing, you know deep down he's trying to protect his family, which not only makes him very relatable, but it also allows the audience to understand why he does what he does. The death of Aiden's niece causes Aiden to go down this downward spiral as he descends deeper and deeper into darkness, as all that is on his mind is vengeance. What's so great about Aiden's character is how relatable he can be. While some of us may not have gone through as much as Aiden, we can still understand a little bit of how he feels, and we all have somebody we would do anything to protect. Aiden pursues revenge on his niece's killers, while also still having to look out for his sister and nephew who have been traumatized by Lena's death. What I love so much about Aiden is how complex and human he feels. He clearly made a lot of mistakes, and because of his actions, he not only got his niece killed, but put his sister and nephew in danger. And the guilt and remorse of it all really weighs heavy on Aiden, and he begins to appear like a damaged man who falls in this moral gray area, who would do whatever it takes for revenge and to protect what's left of his family, including murder. As Aiden descends down his dark path, killing starts to become easier for him, and almost to the point where he enjoys it. He enjoys dealing out punishment to those who have wronged his family and Chicago, and he falls into this vigilante persona as the Fox. Yet for all of the killing and crimes Aiden has committed, you're still rooting for the guy, and you start to feel really connected and attached to his character. I remember when I originally played this game, it was almost like my emotions were directly in sync with Aiden's. Whenever he won, it felt like I did, and whenever he lost, I felt that too. Probably my favorite scene involving Aiden in this game is when his nephew Jax is kidnapped by a bunch of thugs, and Aiden, overwhelmed with rage and hatred, kills every last one of them, not even realizing that his nephew was watching the whole time. This scene perfectly depicts what Aiden has turned into, as his nephew becomes afraid of him and looks at him like he's a literal monster. Sure, they were just criminals, but for Aiden's family to witness what he's become was a very telling and emotional scene that just goes to show how this world has changed Aiden Pearce. One big criticism I often hear when some people talk about Aiden is that people claim that he's bland and unlikable, and that he's hard to side with, and I couldn't disagree more. Sure, Aiden is no Ezio Auditore, he's not a character who's got tons of charm and lighthearted moments, but considering what's happened to him, would that really be appropriate? The world has taken a toll on Aiden, and some people may label it as depressing and dark, but quite frankly, it was really refreshing and bold to me. A lot of games and movies are afraid to tell a dark story that actually shows what kind of effect killing people and seeking revenge does to someone, and it kind of reminded me of Jason Brody from Far Cry 3. Aiden Pearce is a damaged man trying to right his wrongs, and that turns him into becoming a vigilante and helping those who need it. And this dark and grounded story makes the plot feel a lot more realistic and authentic, where you can actually see the consequences of the main character becoming a killer, like when Aiden's family discovers who he is and what he does. Unlike many games where you just slaughter endless amounts of people without consequence or second thought to it. Meanwhile, Watch Dogs makes you painfully watch what you, the player, have turned Aiden Pearce into by killing endless amounts of people. We, the players, made Aiden a man unrecognizable to his family. He tried to fix a little girl's death, and as a result, he broke his family, himself, and his city. But Aiden doesn't just simply accept defeat. Instead, he takes what he learned from his whole experience and finds what he was meant to do, and that's to help those in need and help change this city for the better. And the perfect testament to his character growth and his development is his ending monologue that really lends perspective to how Aiden has changed from criminal to hero.
I don't know what Damien wanted in those final moments. Death, I suppose. I thought I could fix the little girl's death, but instead it led to all of this. Exposed lies, corrupted kings, a broken city. And me, changed man. I don't look back anymore. I don't regret. I look forward. Everything is connected, and I'll use that to expose, to protect, and if necessary, to punish.
Aiden Pearce is very similar to that of John Wick. Family member dies, causing him to go down dark path and murder a bunch of people, and then realizes what he's turned into. They're pretty similar, and just like John Wick, Aiden is extremely badass and ruthless. I think many people have hopped on a negative hate train for Watch Dogs 1 and Aiden Pearce that was really started because of the whole E3 situation. I feel those who label Aiden as bland and depressing really didn't look into the deeper meaning of his character and acknowledge his character growth. Aiden Pearce is far and away my favorite protagonist of this series, and I can't wait to see him in Watch Dogs Legion, but that's just my opinion, and feel free to let me know your thoughts on Aiden Pearce in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it if you dropped a like on the video, and if you're curious about some of my other videos, you can subscribe if you want. Other than that, thanks for watching everybody, and stay stealthy, assassins.